Image goes down, you are free to begin.
Okay. All right, thank you, and welcome everybody to the March 17th Woodlawn Community Improvement Corporation meeting. So I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask Monica to call the roll, if you would.
Yes, 504. Louis Kutcher,
Present.
Michael Donahue,
Present.
Mary Hill,
Present.
Mayor Poole,
Present.
Kiana Trabue.
I just need a motion to excuse Ms. Trabue from today's meeting. She did reach out to me, and she's unable to get on with the meeting tonight.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to excuse Kiana.
So
Second.
the motion, the motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Very good. All right. We have approval of minutes from February 17th, the last meeting. Did everyone get a chance to look those over? Does anyone see any changes, additions, corrections, etc.?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Second.
Is there any discussion on it? Motion's been made and seconded to accept these minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And opposed, say nay, and abstentions. Actually, I don't know if I even need to ask for, because it was obvious that everyone had voted, so.
Uh-huh.
All right. All right. I have added one item to the agenda from what I sent out. It just so happened that our here at UC Blue Ash today, we were having, well, virtual, but we were having a workshop on Robert's Rules of Order. We do a lot of committee work out here. So once a year or so, they always do a workshop on Robert's Rules. So I thought, oh, I better sit in on that. So I've learned a few things about Robert's Rules today, as I like to sometimes call them Robert's suggestions, because nobody follows them perfectly. But anyway, one of which is that the reports is supposed to start with a report from the chair. So I am adding that to the agenda. We never did get into accepting changes to the agenda, but in terms of Robert's rules and where that happens. But I really don't have much to report, except just to say that I'm going to add that part into the agenda in the future. And that if anybody's out of order, I'll slam a gavel down and rule them out. Actually, I just realized.
Is that what you hit your students with? Trey? Oh my goodness.
Sometimes I want to threaten them.
Oh my.
We went to Kenya on a safari with the zoo, and this is actually a oh shoot, who are they? I want to say Maori, and that's not right. Those are in Australia. Anyway, this is a club from here.
Okay.
So
All right.
all right. So that'll be my gavel.
Today it's a shillelagh,
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that works.
an
That
Evo
works.
shillelagh.
Yeah, the word will come to me about halfway through the next item, which is budget update. Mary, you have the floor. I don't know if there's any update to have.
Well, no, we didn't get any more money in. Presently, we have $64,712.67 in our account. And this is kind of late in the day to talk about this, but had we thought of it earlier, we could have probably placed these funds into a 6-month or a year money market, and we would have made ourselves little bit of interest.
Yeah.
So if we can do that, and we would have to read our bylaws to see if it's allowable for us to do that, we could probably put these funds. Now, Brian, please chirp in here, because I don't know when we would be needing them anytime soon, but if not, and if it's not within the next 6 months, then maybe we should think about, I know we can get a few dollars interest on our 60, because this is ridiculous that Fifth Third is not paying us a penny, not a
Yeah.
penny on $64,000,
Wow. Ms. Hill, I would suggest if which is probably not a bad idea to, come up with additional funds, not a bad idea. I guess my only fear is that I wouldn't want to see that going past 6 months, because again, not for sure of that timeline that we're
Right.
talking about. And
Right.
so don't want to get a crunch and then we get a penalty for doing something outside of that period. So it would, it would be advantageous for us certainly to look at that option to see
Well-
if that's a good option, viable option.
Okay, well, I lost everyone here. Where are we here? Oh, let's see, there we are. Well, when we're talking about a penalty, the only thing you would lose would be your interest that you're trying to acquire.
Right.
They would not go into our principal at all.
Okay.
So, so I will, if it's okay with everyone, I
Would you-
will go to try GE Credit Union, because credit unions normally give better rates. I'll try GE's Credit Union to see what their rates are on a 6 month, probably 1 year also, but 6 months is what I'm going to look for.
Okay.
I'd feel a lot more
And I'll let
comfortable
you
with
know.
6 months, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you would, get back to us on the options there. And we will have to vote as a body to
Right,
do that.
right.
But we certainly can do that.
Okay.
Mayor Poole.
Yeah, real quick, in terms of the 6 months, so I'm just kind of trying to think out loud here in terms of that 6 months. Has Fifth Third always been the holder of CIC's account? Mike, you may be able to weigh heavily on that question. Can you recollect anything on that?
On this new account, yes. We've
In
always,
the past, I guess where I was going was in the past. Mike, are you aware that Fifth Third was kind of the administrator of that account?
Yeah, I believe you're right, Brian. I think, at least in my experience, Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, it's always been them.
Okay.
well, I don't know. The reason
Well-
I'm saying that is prior to us reinstating the CIC, I'm not sure who the account was with at that time.
Now,
Because,
when you use the word reestablish, it never failed. I'm just trying to understand how the financial piece, has it always been with CIC? Did Fifth Third travel or follow with that group?
To my knowledge, it's always been Fifth Third.
And so would it, if Fifth Third, like Ms. Hill is saying, is not even, we have $64,000 of them holding our money and we're making really nothing off of that.
not a
So
penny.
again, with her looking at GE Credit Union as one option to see what's the biggest yield on that, perhaps we need to look at moving our business away from Fifth Third totally. If they're not, I'm with Ms. Hill, we should see something on
Yeah.
that money
Yeah.
after a period of time.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's just that I don't think interest rates are so high these days.
Right,
You're going
Right.
to see much money returned anyways.
true.
Yeah.
And on a 6 month basis, I think you'll see very little.
Very little.
Well,
I would
it's
agree.
probably about 1%.
Yes,
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe 1.4, 1.8.
which is
I
not
think
Which
wrong.
is $600.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, that's,
$600
not
in our
nothing.
pockets. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
worth
I
looking
think it's worth
into.
looking into.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Definitely.
one other thing, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
One other thing on the Hinkle report, I did go over and I talked to Tim about it. And it's due on the 31st, well, the last day of the month here,
30th.
March.
Yeah.
And I have intentions of getting that done one day next week. I'm in the
Good.
process of doing income taxes now, so I have to get those out of the way. After all, those are paying customers. So, and I believe that's about it as far as anything that I might have to report on.
Excellent. Okay. If you need any help getting any help with any of this, with the report, getting anything you need for the report, or looking around for CDs or options, reach out to us.
Okay, Tim has offered to help me, and he did go through the whole thing of the Hinkle report, how to pull down the forms, because that's where I fall short in knowing where in that system to pull forms and how to tie the forms together.
Good. Mayor Poole, were you going to say something?
No, I was good. Thanks, Trace.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else on budget update?
The only thing, now that you say that, Trace, I do, it just came to my mind.
Okay.
And I'm writing the question down because I want to reach out and kind of have a conversation with Jerry. And again, Mike Donahue, you recall how this process worked. In the past with the CIC, when the village would purchase any property that was purchased in the village, it would kind of be funneled through the CIC. And then there was a portion of the sale of the property or transferring that property that went to CIC. And I want to make sure that that process, I'm sorry?
10%, we get 10% per the bylaws.
Correct. But I want to make sure that that is happening. And so again, that is another way of us increasing that fund as well. So I want to make sure that that is going to happen with the most recent sale of a piece of property here in the village. And we'll be probably discussing that lightly today in today's meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayor Poole, strategically, that's the smart thing to do. You use the CIC
Yes.
as the go-between. The CIC, you understand it then.
Yep.
That's exactly what you want to do. CICs don't have the same requirements as municipalities.
That is correct.
And to run things through the CIC is an excellent way to get things done. Sometimes we were attempting to use the CIC on some of the bookend stuff.
Yes.
I know Rosemary's been around. She remembers all this stuff. So
Yeah.
I agree. As long as you have it, use it.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks, Trace.
Okay. Let's move on to the village manager is not able to be here, apparently is not here. Do we have, Mayor Poole, do you have any information from him? Is this where you want to talk about the property?
Well, yeah, a couple things. Yeah, we can talk about the property really lightly. The village did close on the property of the corner of Springfield Pike and Marion Road on last week. So that's the old Boston Butt property, right smack on the corner right there. So the village of Woodlawn is the new owners of that property. And so more to come on that. We also are looking at a piece of property on Chatsworth, I believe it is. And again, this is a land bank. So there is a difference. A lot of times I don't want to discuss pending negotiations with a piece of property,
Sure.
But this particular property that I'm talking about was a land bank property, and it goes to the county, and pretty much you're buying it back from the county. So that's what the land bank is. So we're working on that as well. The other, so I kind of wanted to just touch base on those parts, and then I'll save my excitement, Trace, when you get down to when we get to discussing about the master plan, the park master.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, I don't know if there's anything else to discuss in this part then, unless somebody knows that Jerry had something important to tell us.
Okay. The letter, I believe all of you were able to review the letter. It had a couple tweaks. Thanks, Trace, for putting that that teacher part on there for us. I like that. So added some stuff in there. Mary started it off and we kind of just piggyback on it, made it a little longer. So I'm looking at the letter that it looks like it was finalized on the 3rd of March. Does everybody see that, or do I need to send a copy out?
I don't have it.
Okay.
The last time I saw the letter, Monica and I sent it over to everyone, and I haven't.
You didn't get a copy? Okay.
No problem.
You're speaking of the letter that we did
donor.
or the one that Trace did?
I don't know. I thought
The
when
donor.
Brian said that I started, then I assumed it was the one that we had sent over to him.
No,
Yeah.
But I saw another letter.
Yeah, we had a lot of revisions to it, but again, I'll make sure that the committee gets a copy of that because I want to make sure that this gets out. Okay,
Because that'll come out from the committee,
that is correct.
since that's who the donations went to.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, can I get so my name's not going to be on there.
Your name is as the treasurer.
I need my name someplace on there because when we send it out, people are going to call me saying, who are these people and what's going on? Are we gonna, all of this? I don't want people to not know that, let me rephrase that. I want to be able to wanted to send a letter out to people, letting them know, well, let me look at the letter before I go.
I feel that the letter is very detailed. It spells it all out in the letter. It should not make anybody feel, what is this? It brings it up.
Okay.
In terms of your name is just at the end of the letter. Closing out the letter. Trey as the chairperson and you as the treasurer.
Okay, then.
And
That's fine.
And if you would send, Mayor Poole, if you'd send the most recent version around to everybody, and then we can all just, check it off and say, oh yeah, that's the one.
Very well.
And we can get that going.
No worries.
I don't think we need a motion to do that, to send out a letter. So
You really don't.
yeah.
You really
All right.
don't.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Is there any other old business that I have missed? All right, let's move into new business, which is discussion of the master plan that has been proposed. Sounds like the mayor has a few things to say in a moment, but I'd like to give a little background on this. What I was anticipating we would do for part of today is I can call up on my screen and everyone can see each of the three alternatives, and we can just sort of bat them around. I'd like to frame the discussion in terms of what we see as advantages or strengths of each of them, and weaknesses, things that we're not as excited about. It's my understanding that this is not an either or, but it's feedback on these three things, and that the ultimate plan then will take advantage of feedback from the village, and we're part of the village, so it's sort of in our role as representatives of residents, that we're giving this feedback back to the village and to the village manager. So Mayor Poole, did you want to dive in with something, or shall we start going through the alternatives?
Well, let's bring up the slides. Why don't you let's bring up the options. Let's talk about those a little bit. Team, I kind of want to just start off by saying that I'm excited that where we were even a month ago in our meeting to where we are today. And so that tells you that our commitment is moving. It's moving. And so we're excited about it. I'm hoping that each of you had the opportunity to look at the three options that were sent out and kind of waiting. And we are waiting to get some drawings that are going to be down at the community center. And we're going to be asking for public to stop in, give us some input. We've asked council to meet with Jerry one-on-one to have that conversation with him, giving him some feedback in terms of what they see as well. So again, I'm just excited to see that we are where we are at this point in the process.
All right. So let me give a quick overview then of all three as I see them, and then we can and then we'll go through them one by one. But so what we're looking at here is a top-down view, and hopefully everyone can see. I was playing with this earlier. I don't have a way of highlighting, but hopefully everyone can see my cursor here is pretty big. So there's the administrative building, and there's the police department. This is Mayview Forest coming down here and teeing into Woodlawn Boulevard there. This is the site of the pavilion that's right there. And in this area is also a playground. The caboose is over here. And this is the swimming pool down there. So, and this is open space, and also the place has been cleared of brush and some walking trails down along there. So that's kind of the layout. And so that's alternative 1. Let's do this for me. There we go. And there's alternative 2. Again, same layout. Anything in green and brown and yellow are proposed changes. And then alternative 3. So alternative 1 is basically keeping most of the stuff in this area where the current pavilion is. And this is the area where the caboose is and where the summer concerts are. One of the features of this one is that the caboose would be moved down the hill and become I presume become a part of the amphitheater, maybe become a stage there. I'm not quite sure what's planned there. The Harmony Park instruments would be at the top of the hill. Up here, there would be some restrooms there. There would be additional parking going in here to the tune of 28 spaces. This is the existing shelter. And then number 4 here would be some proposed playground equipment coming off of it. There'd be a sidewalk going out to Riddle Road and connector sidewalk going this way to the bike hike trail. So, so I want to open that up. And also, Rosemary, even though you're not on the committee and would normally need to be recognized, you're a resident, and this is kind of resident feedback. Well,
I had gotten with Jerry and just gave him my my thought on it. I like this. I like this piece right here. As he was saying, moving the caboose would probably be the most expensive part, possibly.
yeah. Yeah.
So thought, well, maybe we not move the caboose and keep the caboose in the area that it's in and maybe work around it. But other than that, I like the idea.
Yeah. So what, to everybody, and yeah, to everybody, what strengths do you see about this plan?
Well, is it time to chime in?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. First of all, number 8 is where the Harmony Park instruments are. This plan I like, but I don't like where Harmony Park is, and I'll tell you the main reason why. If the Harmony Park area would move closer to over where number 11 is, it would make better sense, because we're moving, and I can understand moving the caboose, because you already have existing water there, so it would be least expensive to put the bathroom area in there. So that makes sense to me. But to have a concert going on where people are on the stage where number 6 is, and that's where the stage is already, you're having kids up here in number 8 bamming on the instruments. That doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you moved it across the street, you know, and have everything over in the same play area, to me, that would make sense. But as it's laid out, you're going to have, it just isn't going to work. If you've got a concert or anything going on where there's people in stage, you're going to have conflicting things going on there.
Yeah.
And also, when I was looking at this and it said to move the caboose down there, I'm not sure how that caboose is going to hold up. And I don't know if anyone has ever been over to Mount Healthy, where they have that little mini amphitheater there. It would probably look very nice and take that caboose out completely.
Okay.
Well, let me ask the question of the committee that you're talking about, the caboose. What is the sentiment of the caboose? How do you feel about it being in Woodlawn? It's been on the boulevard for so long. Is it part of the village? Do you feel that heavily as a committee?
Personally, I don't. But then I wasn't responsible for putting it there.
Okay.
That was a Susan project, you know.
I think that not only was it a Susan project, but not only that, it did bring some history. I mean, that train had some history behind it. And I think the longer that I see it here in the village, it has become kind of part of the family. And so what do we do? You know, when you come down the pike, I hate, you know, it does need some work. I would be remiss to say that it didn't. However, I just think that it does bring added value to the boulevard with that. And hopefully we can work around that. This option, kind of really based on what Ms. Hill was saying, is why I don't like option number one. I'm a big fan of option two, personally.
So am I.
And
We'll
so
get
I
there.
see-
We'll get there.
Yeah. And so I see, you know, in terms of this plan, there's just some flaws in there. But again, I personally would not want to see the caboose go away.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be one of those big pushers in terms of the questioning. We want to know, how does the residents feel about that caboose?
Yeah. So
If I can, I'd offer, Trace, regarding the caboose, I agree with you, Mayor. I think the caboose has been living here for quite a while. I mean, that goes back to Stan Greninger made that
donation. Yeah.
It needs a lot of work, but my thinking goes immediately to how can it be repurposed? And I think it can be repurposed. There's going to be a lot of things being developed along the West Fork of the Mill Creek,
right?
The Hike Bike Greenway. And wouldn't it be interesting if in the caboose, the recreation center had a place for bike rentals, red bike, where we could have, I don't know, electric bikes. We could do any number of things. But I agree with you. Number one, I think the caboose should stay, and we should find a smart use.
Right.
Right.
Well, if we did that, we could get rid of that shed that's there and would open it up, and it would look much better in there.
Yeah.
If we use the caboose as maybe, at one time we had also said maybe we could use it as like ice cream parlor for kids. They have birthday parties and things like that in there. But I don't think it's very safe right now. But with some refurbishing, yes. I wouldn't have any problems with it.
The caboose itself, honestly, the caboose itself, the bones are not bad, believe it or not. And took a field trip a couple months over there just to look at it, having some ideas about bringing it back to where it really need to be. And I think that you're absolutely right. Some of the what we can really, it's a revenue maker. Just like Mr. Donahue say, we can look at putting the red bikes down there, options like that. But I just, in my opinion, I don't want to see that caboose go anywhere from where it is. And it will cost us, a chunk of that money will be spent on relocating a caboose. And I don't know if we want to do that.
Let me throw in a couple of things that I see and like about about this alternative. I like the idea, and here's something that I was just thinking. There are a lot of possible uses for that caboose. I like the idea of putting it down the hill, and I wonder if it couldn't be, it would take some rebuilding, but opened up on the inside, you know, one side of it opened up to make a covered stage. And that could be the stage area for a very nice amphitheater. We could have concerts, plays, you know, all kinds of things could happen there. Currently on the summer concerts, you know, it's sort of where the band plays, but it's always felt upside down to me. You know, you put the band at the top of the hill and everyone's looking up, and in the evening times, you're all looking at the sun. So flipping it and putting the caboose down at the end, and, you know, making it into a better stage, might be a nice use of it.
Yeah, I think that one of the options that they can look at in terms of that caboose is building it up. When I say building it up, just kind of like you pointed out, Trace, where the performers are looking down to the concert goers. But if we build that area up, you build it up, some type of retaining wall around there. And then again, don't forget that the community center was built, part of that in the back of the parking lot. That is what was supposed to be the amphitheater, those steps all the way in the back, the most weirdest thing. But that's what that was supposed to be, an amphitheater back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another, I want to throw out one more thing I like about this plan, and then if we have drawbacks to it, we can talk about those and then move on. But another thing I like about this one is keeping the pavilion where it is, because it's, you know, it seems to be a good structure. It seems to be in a nice spot, and you know, the shelter thing there. So obviously, the playground equipment needs to be dealt with, because that's getting old and needs to be replaced. But I like number 3 left where it is.
We've already pulled out the unsafe playground equipment over there. It has already been removed.
I hadn't even noticed.
Yes, it has.
And I drive by there. It goes to show what I haven't seen. All right. Any weaknesses we see on this plan?
Besides those, the number 8 being over there for 7 and
That's
6.
one of them. Yeah.
That's the only thing I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'll weigh in. I think there's a big weakness in adding more parking where you're adding it. I don't think it's necessary. I made a point of going around the periphery of the park, the park, and was able to identify 900 parking spaces, all proximate to the campus, whatever you want to call it, the park campus. So I think it's overkill to put more parking in. And I say that in particular when I know that there's so much municipal parking that's not well cared for, that needs to be updated, that the monies that would go in for new parking would be much more wisely spent to update parking behind the municipal building, behind the firehouse. I think that needs to happen first.
In this area here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All the way back behind the police station, there's 80 some odd parking spaces, and they're in not good shape at all. The same is true at the foot of the pedestrian bridge behind the firehouse. There's I think I counted 24 parking spaces that are just, you know, if you do the parking and you do what you have and put up good signage, everybody begins to understand where there are opportunities to park. And part of the rationale for having parks is that so that people can get out and move and exercise and walk. And you specify specific numbers of spaces for disabled people, for handicap parking. And those needs are met. And obviously you have to do, according to ADA, all the curb cuts in order to get people to where they want to go. So that's another down. Number 2 doesn't make sense to me to put more parking in there.
So, Mr. Donahue, can I ask really quickly, if you're saying that we should not have any additional parking? So I'm handicapped. And so you're saying that I need to walk whatever means to get across the street? Is that what I'm hearing?
No. What you do is you number one, assure that we have the parking spaces we have in good order. They're well maintained, they're striped, there's good signage. And every time you do that, you identify handicap parking. You must do that according to the ADA. You have to make that parking available so that people can get to where they want to go. If when we get to the next alternative, you'll see there's 10 spaces that are proposed in that one at the base of Mayview Forks Drive. I think that would be an excellent place to be. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that there's, handicap parking must be an absolute, and it has to be, it's required.
Okay.
All right.
Just
So too much parking in this one. Monica, did you want to chime in with something?
Yeah, there are a couple of folks who live here and work here who had an idea of possibly mixing the two, 1 and 2.
Right.
They like the trail on 2.
On 2.
Yes.
Well, let's go on to 2 then. Or did you?
It's a mix of 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's
My understanding is that it, as I said earlier, it's not a all or none. Here's what we like on this one. Here's what we like on that one, and maybe this is our feedback. So, yeah. All right. So that's a good segue into. Whoops. There we go. Alternative number 2. So what strengths? What do we like about this?
Certainly, I like the connection of my sidewalks. Love. I love. We got to really start promoting the walkability, and so that's another way for doing it. This is of the 3. I really come to like option number 2.
Well, Brian, you and
what do you like about
it?
I like the fact that, and especially taking adding sidewalks that will take us all the way down to the community center, connecting the one that's already down there, just connecting that. I like that piece. And I like the fact that the playground area, the caboose, it's not all right on top of our instruments. I like that.
All right. Other things people like?
I like the overall aesthetics of it. It looks great. That whole curvy linear kind of thing.
Okay.
And the idea that the instruments, I would assume, would be spaced out along there.
Yeah.
I think is really cool. The idea of the promotion of getting people out and interactive doing things. I like it. I like the idea that's additions to the I'll call it the playground area, where the existing shelter is. I think that's a great idea. And I'm all for the addition of the parking spaces right in that plan. That makes sense. It puts more people. I'd also offer that over at the police station, over closer to where number 3 is, the Harmony Park itself. That's a place where if we're going to be updating municipal parking, that's where you put another crosswalk. That's where you do a cut through over there, and you can add more handicap parking as well.
I agree with that. I think that if we can get some handicap parking in front of the police station, get it recoded and lines and some specific handicap space. I don't know how many we would have to have there, but 1 or 2, and then have a cut and a crosswalk in there. And that gives people easy access to the instruments. And then the parking at 5 gives people easy access to the playground and to the shelter.
So there's 10 parking spaces there in number 5. I mean, to cut down on costs, which wouldn't be that much cutting down on costs. But could we cut down on the parking space and just make those parking spaces over there for handicap?
Yeah. I just think that with playground features, you're going to see moms with all the kids and strollers and all the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then in particular, behind the municipal building, if we put in the updated parking, there'll be more handicap parking over there as well.
Yeah.
I think you'll end up, that's like, there's 100 parking spaces just around the municipal building, even more if you counted all the ones behind the police station. But I didn't count that because I think they like to keep it for their own. I don't know, Brian, you can help me on that one.
But Mr. Donahue, I understand you're very adamant about adding all that parking in there, but all that parking behind there, it's going to cost money. And if so, is it going to take money away from the project that we have here? So
No, I think it's money that'll enhance it. You have to, what you have to maintain.
yes, I understand that. I'm just saying, because that's what happened before when Alan came in and put all that parking over there, then we got inundated. And so if what I'm saying is that, do we want to even look at doing anything more with parking, or do we just want to stay with the parks because that's what we're talking about?
I think the village has a duty to update and maintain public parking.
Okay, so let's kind of hold on. We've said a lot about parking right now. One thing I'm thinking is that ultimately decisions will have to be made based on what kind of funding is available. Obviously, the CIC has a lot of money available for the instrument part of it. And there will be other sources for funding. In fact, I was looking into thinking about the caboose. I just did a quick search. Is there funding available for railroad, caboose restoration? Because there are fanatics about that out there. Apparently not a lot, but there is a little bit. So there may be sources for these things. Again, eventually somebody's going to have to make decisions based on money. But for now, let's look at recommendations based on what we like, what we think enhances Woodlawn the most. And then, in stages and finding money will, that part of it, that very real part will happen too.
Yeah, I agree with you, Trace. At this point, I think we go with the idea that there's no bad ideas. It's just ideas.
Yeah.
Any weaknesses on this one? I see one.
Well, there's a teacher.
And having just said, let's not worry about money, the one I see actually is related to money, and that's the location of the crosswalk at 4.
Okay.
And that crosswalk is, and this came up in the thing we sent out for bids that came back too high. There's a light pole and a fire hydrant right there. And moving those is expensive. And if that crosswalk could be moved either to maybe the other side of Mayview Forest, or perhaps just north a little bit to the other side of the fire hydrant or something like that. And again, that's probably a minor thing, but I would suggest that the designers keep in mind, if they want a crosswalk at that intersection, if we can avoid moving something, it's a chance to save some money.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Anything else anyone wants to say about 2?
I like number 2.
We like it
very much.
Yeah. The other residents that I have talked to, and by that I mean my wife, she liked it as well.
She like number 2.
And Carol's wife, yeah, or Carol's wife, Mike's wife, Carol.
Like number 2.
Yes.
I believe so.
Yep.
So we got 4 votes at your house, but your 2 houses number 2.
Yeah. All right, here is number 3. What do we see as positives here, or strengths?
It looks like it would be the least expensive one to do. However, it just doesn't add anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of clumped together to me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they put everything directly across the street from this building. And then you got a kind of like open space out there. I kind of, you know, if you look below, down 6 and 7 is kind of spread out. I just, there was nothing on this drawing design that made me wow at any point.
Yeah, nothing inspiring.
None,
Nothing.
none.
Ditto.
Okay. So I think we all do like alternative 2. I will tell you what you know, if someone were to give me the magic marker and said, you know, we'll worry about money later. I love this. And I also love the idea of this becoming a nicer amphitheater with the caboose down the hill and the direction of things being that way, because I think that is a feature that could be well used.
Well, if we're not worried about money, why don't we put in one of those small amphitheaters like they have over in Mount Healthy? And all it is basically a stage. And it has the covering on the little stage, but it is very, I mean, it isn't anything like the one in Blue Ash at all. It is really, really just a theater there. So I would probably keep the caboose there and put the amphitheater down at the bottom.
Build it up.
Uh-huh.
Well,
It's possible.
interesting. I'd offer a different thought, actually. I
Okay.
think, well, number one, I know in this, number 3, there was, is it this one too?
That's
Yeah,
two.
they're talking about a restroom here. And the question I have, number one, is what about the restroom that's in the parking lot right across from the recreation center? It's locked, padlocked, and chained. You can't use that bathroom. Why is that?
Well, let me start by saying this. One, there was a lot of vandal going in there. That's why it all started to be locked, okay, the vandal. Let me say this. It doesn't matter whether or not a building or whatever is being vandal. We have to make sure that we are offering, so that's a restroom. So that restroom, if it's a park, that restroom needs to be available for the entire park time. We just need to be a better steward of making sure that our buildings are closed down properly at the end of the night. Now, in terms of adding another bathroom, I do see that as value. That's a long way to go to the restroom, either that way or to the pool. So I don't really want to see a lot of crowd running to the pool if the pool is in operation. I think we need to really think about the safety of the kids that are in there, not allowing people just to kind of just flow through that pool like that, because the staff at that point will need to know who's coming and going. And so having that added restroom will take that away.
You know, Brian, when we do the summer concerts, when we were doing the summer concerts, it is very dark, and the women who have to walk down to the pool area down there to the back, now, I don't think that's very safe down there at all, because those big bins are down there and someone could be hiding behind those big bins and you would never see them. However, I will say that we already have existing water at number 8, which is the caboose. If we put a bathroom or some bathroom facilities right next to number 8, that wouldn't be expensive at all because the water is already there.
Is there sewer there as well?
Yeah, it
has to be. It has to be a sewer line in there somewhere. But I thought, if I wasn't mistaken, the restroom on this one is, come on, where is your number?
It's at 8.
Number 8, okay.
Yeah.
Number 8 is the restroom.
All right, so what he's saying in this one is to convert it into a restroom building.
But what we can do, since we like the caboose, leave it there and just put a restroom on the side of it.
I say we just, we need to look to see if up in the area of a tune of where number 4 is,
Okay.
going up, somewhere in that ballpark. Thanks, Trace. Somewhere in that ballpark, or close to coming down, maybe close to number 8. I don't know, maybe a food for thought. Right there, right around in there, Trace. Yeah.
What about on this side?
Well, I would think that it would be cheaper to tap. The closer you are, the cheaper it should be.
Yeah, and you don't
The
have to go
further
up.
you
As
get
soon as I
away.
said that, I realized you don't want to have to
That's
go
why I
take
go
it across the street
Yeah, you don't want
Yeah.
to go.
in this area.
Expensive.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So here's a question. The existing restrooms that are locked and have had problems with vandalism are not on the picture here, but they're kind of down here about where it says March 2021.
Correct.
Is the distance between there and this proposed restroom, is that significant enough to put in more restrooms? Or
I
are
think
so.
are they too
I think
close to
so.
each other?
No, I don't think. No, I do not think that they're that close.
Okay.
I'm gonna always think about when we're talking about restrooms or something like that. I'm always gonna think in the head of a disabled person.
Mhm.
How is that helping them? You and I can walk all the way to the pipe, but
Sure.
that person that is struggling with a wheelchair or some type of walking aid, we don't want them to walk that far.
Yeah.
Even
I
if
like.
the person, go ahead, Trey. I'm sorry. Go on.
I was just gonna say, the idea of the further we can get those apart, I think the better, just because if we can get the restrooms closer to like this stuff up here and here. So if we put in restrooms, if it's not, if we don't lose too much by moving them up a little bit to that corner, it does get them a little bit closer to this other stuff.
But when you really look at the entire master plan, Trey, this is serving for not only the Harmony Park, the caboose area, the recreation center, the pool area. So all of these services are supposed to kind of encompass and serve all of those branches out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
moving them further up, moving that bathroom further up by where 4 and 3 is on this map, it might just be servicing. Now I got to come further to walk. So
I wasn't thinking that far. I wasn't
Okay.
thinking that far at all. I was thinking just up here towards the corner.
Okay.
If we're going to build a structure, as opposed to converting the caboose,
Okay.
up here in the corner, because then you don't have to cut underneath this road, the access, the driveway down to the pool. But it just gets it just a tiny bit closer.
What I don't like about putting it on the corner is
Yeah.
I would prefer to see it behind the caboose, behind number 8, because it's breaking up. It's breaking up. When you look down the street, it looks cleaner, it looks nicer than when if you would have a bathroom there. If you brought it and put it behind number 8, then there's nothing behind there that we're concerned about. But
When you say behind, you mean like in this area?
no, I mean right here behind number 8, where this little bush is. I'm assuming it's a bush.
Right
Right
about
there.
there.
But what we're saying is if we put a restroom on the corner here, then what it does is it breaks up the how long it looks and the beautification of that
Not as
long
attractive.
area there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this plan says caboose converted to restroom building. So, that's a
Plus,
proposal.
even if you're not handicapped, if you think about it, if you're giving concerts and things going on in the summer, people are drinking lots of beer. So you have to.
The truth will set us all free.
So to have a restroom there as opposed to, and where number 11 is, the restrooms aren't right there where number 11 is. They're on down the street.
Yeah.
Are they that much further than here? I know they're not right at 11, but are they that much further? I don't recall.
They're about right where Trace is, just right below the 2021.
Yeah,
That 11 is the existing sidewalk that's already there. We're just saying, let's
I thought
connect.
that was the parking lot.
No.
There's a, not a parking lot, but a field, a baseball field or something there. It used to be a baseball field.
That's still
Yeah.
in here where
Oh,
Tracy
that's,
is.
okay, that's the baseball field.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So
Okay.
the existing is just kind of marrying that up, bringing something like a walkway in front of the caboose,
Yeah.
connecting to the sidewalk going to the community center.
Yeah. I think, I think you just hit the nail on the head there, Mayor. I have not lived in Woodlawn nearly as long. And when we got here, and we were driving around, it's like, oh, that caboose is cute, but what's it doing there? It's just kind of plopped there. And I understand this history, and I like it. I'm not, this is not speaking against it, but having a sidewalk, a walkway, and a way to sort of get to it, whatever happens, ties it in more rather than just a caboose in a field.
Mhm.
Which is what I first thought when I saw it. And I like trains, I like caboose. I thought it was cool, but it's like,
Okay.
it's a caboose in a field.
Right.
This discussion's got me thinking, and I love that. I don't do it often enough.
Oh, my.
because you're
Yeah,
retired, Mr. Donahue.
I'll go take a nap and be right back. But the whole idea about refurbishing the caboose is, I think, that's where we want to go with this, and if it can be generating funds, it's all the better.
Let me
I
say
bet you a
that.
lot of people in our community would be willing to chip in money for the refurbishing of that.
Well, if I can, let me
Ray,
just
do no more fundraising. Oh,
Yeah.
God, no. No more.
just,
What I will say is, in terms of the caboose,
Mayor Poole, can we let Mike finish his thought and then we'll
yeah,
kick back
that's
to
what I'm
you?
like.
yeah,
Finish that one up, Mike.
yeah, just to complete the thought, you refurbish the caboose. I think the concerts have become part of the identity of Woodlawn. And I love the idea that a Harmony Park and music and all that kind of stuff. What about in a short-term basis? Because you can't do everything at once. I mean, ultimately, you're going to run into the dollar signs. Should we give consideration to a temporary stage setup like they use in like the county park, Glenwood Garden? They pull a stage out there.
Would it be down here? Where would you put it?
I'm thinking about, you put it down by the pool, the very corner of the pool.
Way
Yeah,
down
in
here?
that area there. There's windows that open up into. Is that a kitchen, Mary? It's sort of kind of like a commissary area, but to put up a
Put it down
temporary.
there?
Yeah, to put up a temporary stage just for this season. A
You wouldn't get,
temporary.
oh, so the people would come in from where where we had that big concert?
Yep.
That's what you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. If you put in a temporary stage, try it.
Here?
See,
Here?
Yep.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm
That's
saying
a thought.
relatively close, because then you have access to the bathrooms. You get more parking out of it, and you
That's true.
you get a test to see, is this where a stage goes? One thing that's always bugged me about the performances at the Caboose, when you go, you're looking into the sunset. It gets so hot. It's so bright.
Agreed.
We're set the wrong way. If we could set it up and get some feedback, it would be a lot less costly to put in a temporary trailer or whatever you want to call it, something that's got utility that performers could be on, and then people could bring their chairs and have access to the field. Plenty of room. People could come in off of from a number of places. Parking's available at the school.
Yeah.
It's available up behind the firehouse.
We gotta stop. Parking is never available to us at the school. That is a permission thing. We need to understand that. That's not our property.
Understood. We asked for permission. Absolutely. It's the same thing with the We Thrive Garden. You have to ask. It's
Right.
not municipal.
Right.
You know
All right.
what? I don't like that we as a village have to ask for permission from the school system. For
That's
some
their
reason, that doesn't
property.
sit real good with me.
Well, I mean,
I
that's
well-
think we should have our own parking, and then if they're having something on the same time we're having something, there's a conflict, and so who wins out?
Yeah.
right.
And that can be another discussion for perhaps for another day. Mayor Poole, were you gonna chime in on something about stages,
Something really
or
good.
where
So
were you going
a
with?
couple things, just kind of want to go back. Mike was talking about kind of doing a temporary thing. And so I'm kind of stuck with that temporary thing. Temporary has cost this village a lot of money. I'll give you an example. The tent, whatever you put over at the Caboose during the concert series, they rented that every year for $2,000.
Jeez.
Okay. Now,
Event for per
time-
event?
No, for the entire season, you're renting that. The cost of that is $8,000. So we were renting for almost, we should have bought that long time ago. Wasteful money. Okay, but I'm gonna get off of that. My point that I'm saying here is, I'm afraid to say that is a great idea, Mr. Donahue, if we put a temporary stage of some sort down on the ball field. I certainly don't want, now that we have a new recreation director, and I don't know exactly what her plans are looking like, just, conversation from here to there. She's talking about bringing this, bringing that. So certainly I don't want to put something where now we have to limit our baseball field usage because we have a stage back there. So I would love to just look at some other options for that. I think one of the other ones is, I know over the years we have not used the soccer field like we really used to. And last year or 2 years ago, when we did the one-day family day and we set the stage up on that soccer field, if that is an idea of a temporary place, to me, that would be the place. Directly across, you know where I'm talking about, Mr. Donahue?
In this area here?
I'm with you, Brian.
I think, yes,
I
sir.
think we
Yes,
need to try something temporary and see how it works.
yes.
And you
Yeah.
can get you can, the county, the Great Parks has these things. I don't know if we could even borrow it, who knows? But they're enclosed, it's like a trailer. It's all rigged, you have to put in whatever the amplification and lights are, but it's covered. And I would agree with you. I think that's as fine a place. It's probably less at risk trying it there and seeing what happens. Are more people there?
So,
I think I like that idea, Brian.
so these are great ideas, and I think they are definitely fall under the purview of community improvement. So things to discuss. Kind of moving away from the park master plan, unless we want to make a recommendation that gets rolled in, but it doesn't sound like we want to make that recommendation yet.
Yeah.
Although I kind of was, because I was saying, hey, I like the idea of the amphitheater there, but what other comments, thoughts? What other feedback do we want to provide about the park master plan?
Other than leaving the caboose there and putting in a restroom someplace over there, it looks fine to me. We could probably use some more things right by 6, 7, and 6. Put some more. Okay, so where we have the 6, and the
6 and 6.
is that the only new thing that's going to be there at 6?
So you're talking about like playground equipment, right? Is that what you mean?
Yes,
Yes.
playground equipment.
Yes. Because we had to take the pieces that were unsafe over there, rusted and all that, jagged edges. We had to take it out of there.
So is the gazebo still there? I mean, the
Yeah.
shelter? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the proposal with this is that would just remain as it is. Is that
Correct.
correct? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah.
I wish we could afford more playground equipment in there.
Well, it says playground playground improvements, so perhaps that can be a phase.
Okay.
Right.
So, all right. All right, so we can write up some of these notes as a general sort of recommendations or feedback. But clearly it sounds like we like alternative 2 the most. And there's some other things we like or think about doing. Other new business, Mayor Poole, is there something you were gonna? Mention.
No, I don't have any other after, of course, of us discussing the master plan. I don't have anything else further, Trace.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if there's something you were gonna talk about property or.
No, I've already kind of
Okay.
covered that.
All right. It sounds like what has currently happened has been the purchase of property or is contemplated as purchase of property, and we're not at selling property, which isn't that where the CIC gets involved?
That's where we get our
Typically-
revenue from.
Yeah.
Typically, that has been the history of this body, is to kind of be the in the middle person to
Mhm.
handle with any property acquisition or selling of. And
Okay.
so we want to continue that because I do think that we need that body out there doing
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So if you need CIC involvement then in further acquisitions, certainly let us know.
No worries.
All right,
Trace, just a couple more thoughts.
sir.
I think it's always good to begin thinking about branding for Harmony Park. I think that's important. I think we have beautiful Woodlawn as a brand, but this is going to be a singular kind of installation that it'll be unique in the county. So I think it's really important to try to think in terms of how can we make hay with this new addition. So the idea about
Right.
branding, it's come to my mind. Wouldn't it be interesting if you could do, I don't know, clef notes or musical notes or something on the crosswalks? I'm just thinking real quick. And the CIC should be the conduit for that kind of thinking. Brian, go ahead.
I don't want to take away from our director of Parks and Recreation. She's going to play a heavy role in this. And
Alright.
for having this conversation, she hasn't really heard a lot of our conversation, but
Okay.
certainly trust me, when you talk about branding, the village is going to go through a lot of branding, rebranding. I like the word rebranding. Because we got some great things coming down the pike, and we really do. Like you said, we have to brand it. We just don't want to stick it up there and then that's the end of it. We have to brand it, market it, whatever it is. So at our next meeting, when we decide if there's a need to have an April meeting, I'm going to see if we can get Ms. Paula in just so that this group knows who she is, and just kind of give her an opportunity to give a brief overview of some of her plans in Parks and Recreation.
I get you, Brian. That's a good idea. I also just wanted to let you guys know that I have been reappointed to another 3-year term by the county commissioners to the Community Development Advisory Committee.
Nice.
So
Good.
I look forward to that, but it also gives me an opportunity to see what other municipalities are doing.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of creative juice is out there, because it's ultimately a competition thing, Brian.
Yeah, it is.
It's definitely that. And so just to be aware of that, and my understanding is there's going to continue to be a fair amount of money coming through the pipeline, not with this new administration. So to think big, when you think branding, when you think about all these different things, think big.
Okay.
And, I'll share what information I can as I see things developing. But I think we're in a really good position to move forward and get, as you know, you've got some friends at the county commissioners as well, to get some significant things done here.
Also, Brian, I don't know how well you know Cedric Dennison, but
I
I
do.
know,
Uh-huh.
I know that the state has money in there for parks and recreation. And I also know that they have another line item. It's called something miscellaneous, or whatever it is. And they take money out of those accounts and use it, or the representatives can request money out of those accounts for certain things. So maybe if you hit him up and asked him what he could do for us for our park area, we might be able to get some money.
I know that Jerry is working on the Ohio Natural, it's an Ohio Nature Grant,
ODNR, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources.
Nature Grant.
Could be ODNR. Yeah, they're the ones that help so much with the pedestrian, no, not the pedestrian bridge.
With the
With
bridge.
Not the bridge. The county did that. They bought the house that the parking lot is on Springfield Pike now. Next to the bar.
Yes.
That one. That's where that money came from ODNR.
Okay, but now this,
I'll reach out to that. I'll reach out to him and question that.
reach out to him, because this is one of those things where if you know somebody up there who knows somebody, then you get something.
I'm gonna throw your name out there then too.
No, you don't want to throw my name out there to Cedric. You just tell Cedric,
Brian, you're a tease.
What? I'm
You're
just saying. I'll just say she's from our community as well.
Well, you may not get a pity.
No, he's a good
All
guy.
right.
All
right.
Good stuff, Trace.
Unless there is other business. I'm not sure if we need a meeting in April. It sounds like the things to do would be, the letter should go out long before then. And the one thing we will need to vote on is if Mary finds a good place to park the money. And we need to find out how soon, if we park it for 6 months, will we need it prior to then? But we can find that out, But if we need to make decisions about money, that's the only thing I can think of that we have to meet in April on. Can that be done by an email vote or something?
No, never an email vote. No.
Okay. All right.
Money.
All right. So we would have to have some sort of either virtual or in real life face-to-face meeting.
Yeah, plus it'd be nice to see the new recreation commission or parks person.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and plan on scheduling a meeting in April then, and we can invite the new rec director, because I didn't even know we had a new rec director.
Mhm.
So we can invite them. And we can find out whatever updates there are on master park plan. And if we need to vote on money, we can do that at that point in time. I'm looking, and it looks like the 21st of April is the third Wednesday. And how does that sound? And does this 5 to 6:30 timeframe work?
I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
I love it.
It's good.
All right.
One question too, Trish, if I can, just quick. On the money stuff, I guess this is to Mayor Poole too. When would we know or have a sense for what's going to be money-wise in Parks and Recreation and the capital budget that might be applied to this overall parks plan?
I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to answer, and I'm not giving you a straightforward answer. Let me follow up with Jerry on that.
Okay, thank you.
Is that fair?
Okay. Do we want to try and meet in person in
I am
April?
suggesting that we hold off on any in-person meetings right now, Trace.
Okay, fair enough. Good. All right. The mayor has spoken. He's been in close consultation with the CDC, I'm sure, and phone calls on conference calls with Fauci.
Shots either.
I'm sorry.
Do you have your 2 shots?
I do. I've had.
Oh, okay.
I will have my second by then. So, all right, very good. Apparently we don't, according to Robert's rules, we don't have to have an official motion to adjourn if adjournment is on the agenda. You can just move to that item. So
adjournment isn't on the agenda. does the meeting just go on and on and on? or
No,
what?
somebody has to move. But we don't have to have a motion unless
Oh.
somebody wants to.
Mary, make the motion. What the heck?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
There you go. All right. Hey, good
All
to
right.
see everybody. It feels good.
We are
Thank you.
adjourned.
And
All
happy,
right.
happy,
Patrick's Day.
happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone.
Thank
You
you
bet.
to everyone. Yeah, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, Mr. Donahue, I'll be right over for the beer and potatoes and,
Well, we've been talking shots, so what the heck? I have to break out the Jameson for you, right?
well, I drink that whatever Muldoon, what's her name is.
All right, if you're opening the Jameson, I'm coming over too.
Hey, we're